air raid alerts sounded across Ukraine earlier as European Union leaders were in the country's capital to discuss further sanctions on Russia and Ukraine's prospects of joining the European bloc with President Volodymyr Zelenskiy, the head of the EU's Executive Commission and the chairman of the 27 EU national leaders, traveled to Kyiv to demonstrate support for Ukraine. There is more in the following reports.
The head of the group's Executive Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, arrived in Kyiv by train on Thursday, a symbolic journey to demonstrate support for Ukraine as the first anniversary of Russia's February 24th invasion of its neighbor approaches. Senior members of the EU's executive met their counterpart in the Ukrainian government. President Zelensky called for more punitive measures against Russia by the European Union. But new sanctions the bloc is preparing for the anniversary are set to fall short of its government's demand. While the EU backed Ukraine and supports democratic and economic reforms there, it declines to offer a fast track to membership while Ukraine is at war. EU officials have listed multiple entry requirements, from political and economic stability to adopting various EU laws. The process is likely to take years. Ukraine applied to join shortly after the invasion and in June received formal candidate status from the EU. EU officials said subjects discussed on Thursday included more arms, money and energy support for Ukraine, better access for its products in the EU market, tightened sanctions on Moscow, and efforts to prosecute Russian war crimes. The EU has demanded more anti-corruption measures from Ukraine, which it perceived as having endemic statecraft, saying it must build a credible track record. To that end, President Zelenskyy has announced dismissals and investigation of some officials the past 2 weeks, pointedly saying the defense ministry needs to be clean. The EU-Ukraine summit coincides with an intensification of Russian pressure on Ukrainian forces in eastern battlegrounds and also in the northeast and south.